All right, what's up, y'all? Okay, man. Okay, it's Juneteenth. It's a day of celebration, and but unfortunately, around this time in 2020, there's a lot of butthurt out there, man. A lot of butthurt. People aren't really they're really not taking advantage of the time to celebrate. As the saying goes, as I say, man, you could be angry or you could be free. You can't really be both. And the celebration is kind of eclipsed, by the anger that's out there. And man, and I tell you what, I think a lot of y'all are out there. A lot of y'all out there are sick of talking about this stuff. As am I. I don't want to be talking about this stuff, man. Look, man, you see this gear I got in here, and thank you to my supporters because you guys help me, and I want to be able to do more with it. But of course, those Democrats that too much of the black community is so loyal to, they got their boot on my neck. So it's like I don't want to hear about all this racial equality and championing for black folks that Democrats claim to do, because they definitely keep their boot on my neck, because I don't think with the herd that they want us to keep us in, right? I'm not with them on that. So they don't like me, so they keep me squashed down so I can't get my rock on. And but I thank you guys for who listen in and try to help me keep going. But with this, like I said, there's a lot of people who are sick of this racism stuff, and there's a lot of people who can't get enough of it. All right, and we know who they are. But I want to talk a little bit about, where Republicans are on this, because a lot of this, when people are out there and when they're talking about this white privilege and they're talking, and they're trying to put out this race narrative, they really want Republicans to be at the forefront of people's minds, because the Democrats, they have an agenda, right? The rebellious Democrats, remember y'all, they're not radicals, they're rebels. They've been rebels ever since they established the Confederacy. They are enemies of this country still, right? They are rebels against this country. And this is where Republicans, and I heard some Republican officials talking about Juneteenth today. And once again, Republicans dropped the ball. And this is important, y'all, because this is why we're in this crazy stuff that we're in right now, because Republicans, they think that they can reason, right? It's not that we can't communicate with Democrats or anything like that. It's not that we can't make some sort of ground, but this idea that you can reason with them and this idea of compromise, going about it all wrong. That's not the right, it's not the right approach. It's not the right objective. It's not the right solution. But I'll talk about that in a little bit. At least I hope I'll remember, because I ramble a lot. But at any rate, when you got Republicans, they want to try to talk about this being, America. And that's what people, everybody kind of says that to a degree, right? We just want to be Americans. We're trying to stand up for America, or we're trying to hold up to what this country that we have called America. But here's the problem, y'all. People have different ideas of what America is. Okay. And right now it's come down to two distinct factions. It's been that way for a while, right? And these ideas of America are represented by two chief parties, a Republican Party and Democrat Party. You have the Republicans who know what America is, and you got the Democrats who have an idea, a fantasy about what America is. As a Republican, we understand that we enjoy a constitutional republic. The Democrats have this idea that we're a democracy. The Republicans, we understand that, look, our rights are God-given and they can't be messed with, right? Democrats, on the other hand, are so full of themselves that they think that by majority rule, that even with their majority vote, they can vote away that was ordained by God. That's the difference. You see what I'm saying? A Democrat, they look at the God-given rights of man and they say that, you know what? I want to be able to have the right to vote against that. I don't agree with that. I want a right to what you have. I don't want to have to be a respecter of life if I don't want to be. If your life is in the way of something that I want or that I feel entitled to, I feel that your life should be forfeit. This is their mindset. All right. You maybe have to be able to they should have the right to be able to make your life forfeit, to make your liberty forfeit, your pursuit of happiness forfeit, and your property forfeit. They'll call it share the wealth, takes a village, reproductive rights, collectivism, your brother's keeper, whatever, to give it all these well-meaning intentions to be able to lay claim or supersede your God-given rights. The power of the people. That's what they think the power of the people means. The power of the majority vote to overrule the rights that God bestowed upon man. That's the Democrat Party. Okay, so how does this all tie into Juneteenth? Well, the Democrats, they felt that they were entitled. They had a right. They had a right to disqualify the personhood of blacks. All right, long story short, and just really quick, when people try to say that the Emancipation Proclamation didn't free the slaves and all that sort of stuff, y'all, that's a lie. Okay, it did. The problem is, the reason why slavery didn't end just like that is because Democrats did not want to let their slaves go. They didn't want to abide by the act. Okay, that's why there was a war, because Democrats were so knuckleheaded about giving up their slaves that there had to be a war. And even after the war, y'all, the slavery didn't just end like that. Okay, Democrats stood, they did knuckleheaded stuff, including forming the KKK, because they felt that they had a right, their states' right, and their states' rights to do what, y'all? Their states' rights to deprive somebody else of theirs. That is who the Democrat Party is, right? So, you know I have, and Republicans, you mess things up. There's Republicans out there who mess this up for us because they try to say that the war wasn't about slavery. Evidently, you never read the Confederate Constitution. You never read it, okay? And you never read the enemies of Lincoln, his contemporaries, who flat out accused him and say, you're trying to wage a war to end slavery. They knew what was up. But you got some Republicans out there messing that up for us, trying to say that the war wasn't about slavery when it was. All right. So slavery, of course, it didn't just end just like that. And that's why there was this, we ended up with Juneteenth, you know, and the slavery was still going on. So it's like there was these later strongholds that people were still trying to keep this stuff going. All right. So, but what I'm trying to say, y'all, is that with Republicans and trying to see this as just America, just this one country, you know, and they're talking about Juneteenth today. It's like, sorry, Republicans, you know, you're going to have to get a little, you know, use some finesse, but you're going to have to get a little bit more stark. All right. Once again, you dropped the ball to lay your claim on why Juneteenth was. You left the Republican Party out of it. You left out that the Republican Party was founded on abolition. That was the abolitionists came together to form the Republican Party, ready to go to war if they had to liberate the slaves from the Democrat Party. Republicans don't address that. And they leave the field wide open for everybody to think that the parties have switched sides. The Republican, and I've been telling Republicans this for 13 years. 13 years. I've been trying to tell Republicans this, but it's like they don't listen, right? Is like your head too big? You know, what is it with these Republicans out there? They don't get the message on this. There's a cultural connection that has to be made. But Republicans are too hung up politically. They think that they can change all this stuff politically, and they think that they can reason with these people. No, it doesn't work that way. This political representation that you want has to be established at a cultural level, and Republicans just don't understand that, right? And they're not making the connection. They're not letting folks know. It's like, look, it's like, and don't get me wrong, because a lot of my listeners and a lot of folks at the grassroots level, you know, they can feel the funk on this. They know what's up, but for some reason, our elected officials don't seem to. Even a lot of our more premier conservative voices out there, they miss the boat. They're out there arguing for keeping up these Confederate statues and stuff like that. Well, it's heritage and history and all that sort of stuff. And they're calling these Democrats radicals, and they're giving these people all the material that they need to promote the idea that the parties have switched sides. All right. Now, I want to talk a little bit about what would be helpful, because Republicans are like, well, what do we do, man? What do we do? Okay. Let me throw this one at you. Republicans, you gotta change your language a little bit. You gotta I understand the sentiment behind Nazi. We try to hold true to what Martin Luther King said, right? We want to judge people by the content of their character, not by the color of their skin, right? That's where conservatives are. That's really how we roll. It really is. Okay, but it's almost to our peril, because to Republicans, to conservatives, yeah, we're like, yeah, color doesn't matter. Color doesn't matter. But remember, y'all, we're dealing with identity politics here. And the Democrat narrative has pushed so much. The left wing, the liberal narrative, anybody who's insecure about their skin color, their features, you know, the shape of their eyes, their gender, their orientation, all that sort of stuff. All that stuff has been deeply tapped in for insecurity. Okay, and they find their security in identifying with these things, really trying to find their self-esteem, right? If you're black, that's your identity. You're a color first, which is strange because a lot of these disgruntled blacks that are out there, they're talking about, we want to be seen as a person. We want to be seen as a person. That's not what you're telling us. That's what you're mad about, but that's not what you're telling us, because you're always wanting us to see you for your color. You only see yourselves for your color. You want to be seen as black before anything else. Before anything else, you want to be seen as black, but you're mad because people don't see you as a person first. You see what I'm saying? So you want to be seen as a color. And Democrats know how to play on that insecurity, y'all. They know how to do it. And so I'm trying to tell Republicans, when you're telling them they don't matter, the skin color doesn't matter. Man, I don't look at you for your skin color. That doesn't matter to me, right? What they hear is you saying that they don't matter. They don't matter as a human being. But the communication is wrong. It's not ill meant or anything like that. It's just there's a breakdown of communication because conservatives don't understand that about people who identify with what they are. Women, it's like in the feminist movement, they don't identify themselves as human first. They identify themselves as women first, feminist first, right? So when you tell us, like, look, your gender doesn't matter, your ability matters, that crosses them the wrong way, right? And what they're hearing is you're telling them that they don't matter. So, Latinos, Asians, you know, when you tell them, it's like, look, man, your nationality, that stuff doesn't matter to me. What they're hearing you tell them is that they don't matter. But hold on, let me get a sip out of my nice mug here. But y'all, here's the thing. Playing on that insecurity, this is where Republicans, you're going to have to do something very, 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 very proactive. Now, just hear me out on this. You might have noticed that Democrats are obsessed with black folks. They're obsessed with us. Whatever it is that they're trying to do, they always lean on black folks for that. All right? Gay marriage, tax policy, illegal immigration, gun laws, all that stuff. They always lean on us for that. Okay, you might have noticed that. The black community, y'all, doesn't need to be coddled. All right? Democrats, I know there's the narrative of the mighty whitey Democrat coming to save the black, and you know, there's this bigotry of the soft bigotry of low expectations and all that sort of stuff. And Democrats are very, very, very attracted to the black community. All right, they're the ones who imposed the plight that the black community has in the first place. But this is an engineering. All right, Democrats are very dependent. The same way that Pharaoh was very dependent on the Israelites and did not want them to leave. He wanted to keep them enslaved. The Democrats are the same way about the black community. And y'all, with this whole thing, they have to keep us at a certain level. This isn't about what the black community isn't capable of, y'all. It's about what the black community is capable of. All right? And the Democrats know that. They shape a lot of what's going on in the culture with the potential of the black community. And that is potential that the Democrats have to control. They have to control the black community. All right? We're their most prized commodity, y'all. If they lose us, or even enough of a percentage of us, they are done, because they can't use us to influence the rest of the country or even the rest of the world. We are their tool for that. We're the tool that they have with the most leverage to do that. What I'm telling Republicans is that you have to get in the way of that. It doesn't mean that you got to pay special attention to us. You don't have to coddle us. You don't have to do any of that sort of stuff. You just have to get in the way of Democrats, because they know what we're capable of. And what they've used us for, the great capability that we have, they're using us to destroy this nation. when we could be helpful in helping to make this nation the God-given great nation it was supposed to be until kingdom come. All right. We're supposed to be a blessing to the world. All right. And the black community could be used for that. But the Democrats get to us right from the get-go. If blacks are allowed to escape from the womb because the Democrats are beset on controlling our population to keep us at a manageable level, right? They got to keep us manageable. Even all this rioting that you guys see, that's still manageable for Democrats. They weaponized us. All right, we're part of an agenda, of an objective, is what they're using the black community for right now. Blacks were used at one time to help build this nation, and because the Democrats can't have this nation the way that they want it to be, they're using blacks now to destroy it. Republicans, you have to understand, you have to get in the way of that, and you haven't. Because you've been trying to think that, oh, this is, we're just trying to see America as America. You can't, because people are going to see America in different ways, and you haven't made the stance for what that is, for understanding that that America is a Republican Party, and you got to make a stand for that. And you haven't made the case. You haven't pointed out who the enemy is. You haven't pointed out who the enemy has been, and you've given the Democrats so much room, so much line to promote the idea that the parties switch sides, and now people don't trust you, and now you see it burning up in the streets. How many times do we have to go through this? How many times I got to tell you? So Republicans, you're gonna have to get more culturally supportive. All right, you don't need to. It's black folks don't need you to hold their hands. It's Democrats has done that. You got to break the spell. We don't need no hand holding anything. It's like, hey, it's just, you know how it is. We just need folks to get out of our way, right? Speaking of getting out of the way, let me bring this up really quick. I just heard Klobuchar. Oh, how nice of you, Amy, that you're gonna get out of the way. So a black woman, right? And this is idolatry, y'all. So that a black woman can have a shot. Right, Amy Klobuchar. Now, don't get me wrong, y'all, because I actually, in a way, I respect it, because I've said for 13 years, if the Democrats were really about affirmative action as they claim to be, if a black person wants to run, then they need to get off the stage and let that black person run. If they're the true champions of affirmative action and equal rights, then they need to. Matter of fact, every time an election comes up, they should always run a black candidate every time, to match all the white candidates or the white presidents that we've had in the Democrat Party. They need to just step down and let blacks fill the quota from here until how long America's got, right? There should be a black candidate every time the Democrat Party, every time there's a presidential election, to match how many white Democrat presidents that we've had. Okay, Amy Klobuchar is leading the way. All right, she's leading the way with that. But this is now, in a way, I'm saying this tongue in cheek. But here's the thing, y'all. Amy, you think that a black female president is what's going to heal this nation? If Joe Biden takes a black female running mate, okay, listen to the illogic of that. If Joe Biden takes a black female running mate, okay, well, Joe Biden was the running mate to a black president. Look where we are now. Did racism get any better? Has the nation healed? No. Maybe the nation needs to get over this idolatrous nature that it has. And I'm talking about from Trump. And don't get me wrong, y'all, because I voted for Trump and I'll vote for him again. But some of y'all, you push up the line a little bit and you act like Trump is what it's going to take to save America. Trump supporters, let's get this straight. Trump cannot save America. Trump cannot save the world. Nobody can. No, it doesn't matter if it's a black president. It doesn't matter if it's a black running mate, Miss Klobuchar, who thinks that a black female president is going to heal the nation. That's not what the nation needs. The nation doesn't need saving. The nation has already been saved. Yeshua, our Lord Jesus Christ, has already saved the world. Anybody out there thinking that they can save the world, you're messing it up. Knock it off. You're too full of yourself. The world has already been saved. The problem that the world has is that it doesn't accept the salvation. When your world gets over itself and shows some gratitude, and when America starts understanding it needs to be grateful again, instead of so worried about being great again, maybe things will get better. Yeshua Messiah, our king, our high priest and king, has already saved this world. Quit assuming that you can save it. Quit assuming some politician, even Trump, can save it. It's not his job to save it. It is our job to help preserve it long enough to report the truth of the salvation of Yeshua. That's what we're supposed to be doing. That's making good use of this republic. Okay? So if we're free and we really want to walk in freedom, when you got all these people out there so concerned about what their rights are, and just looking for any reason to be mad and looking for any reason to be unjust and thinking that they are entitled to get away with whatever it is that they want because they have a perverted understanding of what the land of the free means, and we get down to being thankful, a lot of this stuff wouldn't be so much of a problem, right? Yeah, we're going to have some problems, y'all. You know, we're going to have some problems here and there. But, you know, like I say in my audiobook, which is available, A Solid Right Cross. It's available on Audible now, y'all. I hope you guys get it. You know, and me giving myself a shameless plug. I forgot what I was gonna say. But it's in the book. If you want to go get the book, it's available for you. So I hope you guys go get it, and it's read by yours truly. So I hope you guys have a blast reading it. But let me give y'all a little example of what racism can look like and how it can snowball. Okay, you got a lot of people out there saying that they're not racist. Okay, and a lot of people understand they don't understand how a person can do racist things and not be racist, right? I know this stuff gets kind of complicated. It's dumb, right? Well, yeah, you can actually be not racist and do racist stuff. It's not that hard to imagine, y'all, if I may use the Democrats' word. And maybe I'm trying to relate to y'all by using the word imagine. Okay, here's the thing. You can be a racist. You can do racist stuff without being a racist, just the same way as you don't have to be a professional basketball player to play basketball, all right? You don't have to be a professional musician to be able to play music. You don't have to have a job as a football player to play football, right? So in the same way, you don't have to be a racist to do racist things. You got a lot of people out there who, who claim that they're not a racist, but they do racist stuff. And it contributes to the problems that we're having. And a lot of people do this. It don't matter if you're black, it don't matter if you're white, anything in between. You might have heard yourself do it. You might have heard your family members do it. My mom does it all the time, and it doesn't register with her. She's made some strides. You know, she's from the South and all that sort of stuff. So that stuff is just really deeply ingrained in her, right? And when I say from the South, because that's where a lot of Democrats were, all right? So, and Democrats, they keep this narrative going. But I'm going to give you a little example, right, of what it looks like to not be racist, but to do racist things. I'm gonna use my mom as an example. I'm not trying to snitch on my mom or anything like that, because you probably got family members that are just like this too. But I'm gonna use her example just to show how common this is. Y'all may know that my wife is white. Okay, I only point that out for illustrative purposes. Other than that, I acknowledge that, yeah, I have a white wife, but other than that, it's her character that matters to me, and she rocks. And that's just really what it comes down to. And she's fine too. That helps. She's fine. And but it doesn't matter, it doesn't matter. Don't get offended, because she still matters to me as a person. But wouldn't matter what nationality she is. It's her character, right? And she's fine. So, but here's the thing, y'all. With a lot of cultures, when they see the evil that a person does, when they see the evil, all of a sudden they can see their sin. They'll not even all of a sudden. That's the first thing that jumps out. Usually is their heritage, right? Like, say for instance with my mom, when somebody does her wrong, she'll call out their ethnicity first, right? If she doesn't like the way somebody treated her, if she doesn't like their treatment, that black this and that, right? She'll let you know what color they were. Their color gets cursed first before the actual offense. This white person did this. This Mexican person did that, right? Now, in her heart, she's not racist. She's very sweet lady, kind to anybody, right? But like a lot of people, if they cross her, the first offense is their nationality. This Mexican did this. This white person did that. This black person did this, right? So now with my wife, I'm like, and sometimes when my mom is going to complain about what a white person did to her and then lumps them together as if this is just the nature of white folks. This is just, white people, they just did it. And don't get me wrong, she's not like a profanely, making this complaint, but, you get her talking and it's almost like she sees all white people that way. When a white person has made an offense towards her, all of a sudden it's a general thing. It's generally white people, right? And a lot of people are like that. Black people do it about white people or any other race. White people will do it about it. So not everybody does it, but enough people do, right? So I'm like, Mom, you have this idea about white people. I'm listening to your grievances about white people as if they did what they did because they're white, okay? But if that's really true and you have this idea about white people, then how do you feel about Carrie? Because Carrie's basically been the nicest person to you that you've ever known, really, when you get down to it. You know what her answer to that is? And you've probably heard this answer before by other people or conversations that you had. Yeah, but Zoe, I don't see her as white. Let that sink in. You hear how racist that is? That's very racist, okay? Because what that means is, as long as my white wife, right, or your white friend or anybody, right? Like I said, I'm not trying to pick on my mom. I'm talking about this as if this is somebody that you know, because I'm sure you've heard it before, but maybe just never really thought about it, all right? My white wife, as long as she is seen as good in my mom's eyes, my mom doesn't see her color. I don't see her as white. Well, if you don't see her as white, then what do you see her as? What is she? What else could she be? Right? So when she does good, the whiteness disappears. But if offended by a white person, all of a sudden, that's all you see, which means that you can only associate evil with white people, but you don't associate good with white people. And it can be the same way when it's like, if it's a Mexican. Oh, man, they're cool, man. Well, you say this stuff about Mexicans, but why not this person? Oh, yeah, well, I don't see that person as a Mexican, though. Oh, really? So what that means is that when that person does good, you don't see their ethnicity, but when they do evil, you do see their ethnicity, meaning that you can only associate their ethnicity with evil and not good. That's racist. You see what I'm saying? Now, people don't think of themselves as, I'm not saying that you are racist, right? Remember, I'm not saying that you are racist. I'm saying that mindset, that thought process is racist because, like I said, I know it has a register with a lot of people. A lot of people don't think of it like that, but I hope you do now. Don't associate, when you do that, you have gone against what Martin Luther King said to judge. Matter of fact, even before Martin Luther King, our Lord Jesus Christ is not a respecter of persons. He looks at the heart. Okay? But in this modern age, Martin Luther King is still trying to follow on the word based, with the mic drop of Christ, still trying to say is, ain't we supposed to be examining people's content and character, not the color of their skin? Of course, it's like any of my friends. I know what ethnicity you are. I ain't hung up on it, but I don't ignore it. This colorblind society that we think that we're supposed to be, no, man, that's not it. Even the Lord himself is going to look over the nations. He sees our color. He made us that way, right? It's okay. But the problem is when people make judgments about us based on color. When you judge anybody based on their color, that's when we got a problem. All right, we're supposed to judge, each person by the content of their character. So, what I would really like to see from Republicans, if you really want to fix this, please understand that you're dealing with people given over to imagination. I'll tell you about this in my book. Please go get it. You need that culture war coaching, y'all. You got to get that culture war coaching. Is in this Juneteenth, with what's going on right now and the perversion of what people are doing with it, and how Republicans just grossly dropped the ball. Donald Trump should have been having that rally today. He should have made a stand for the Republican Party and America as the party that ended slavery. But they rolled over and they capitulated to the Democrats, and they capitulated to this butt-hurting movement and gave up Juneteenth, when Republicans are the reason why there was what followed the lead of the Lord, and is the reason why there would be a Juneteenth to celebrate the abolition of slavery. Because Republicans led that charge, and Republicans laid down on that, man. You know, in Tulsa, Oklahoma, Donald Trump, it's like, you passed that up, man. Where were you? Where were the people who were advising him on this? You passed up that. Black Wall Street, when Democrats, that place is a Democrat stronghold when that happened. It was Democrats and the KKK, the terrorist arm founded by the Democrat Party, that came in and destroyed that place and terrorized that place and murdered. Democrats did that. It should have been a Republican standing there and say, hey, we want to remind you of what this place is and who did it, right? Republicans didn't do that, dropped the ball. And Republicans wonder why. People think the party switched sides. I'm trying to tell you, but you think that you can as Republicans, you do yourself a disservice in thinking that it's all about jobs in the economy and national security and gun rights and stuff like that. You've really missed the glory of what the Republican Party was blessed to be. All that stuff is important too, but that stuff is fragile if you don't have the cultural foundation underneath it, and Republicans have not laid that groundwork. Not only, and what's even worse, the spiritual groundwork, the spiritual root of that. Because Republicans, a lot too many Republicans, especially the Republicans in office, you're not in your Bibles, man. You're not reading your manual. You're not reading it, because the Bible gives us the heads up on this. We should have seen that this stuff has been charted out for us to be able to be ready. Republicans weren't ready. So, I'm telling Republicans, you got to get more spiritually rooted, and you got to be able to take that into the culture. I hope that you guys go get my book so you can get that culture war coaching, and you got to support the creative delivery of this. You can't just go reason with them, y'all. It doesn't work that way. If you understand anything about computers, you know that you can't always just take a file and load it into the computer and it's always going to read it. Sometimes you got to change the file, not change the contents, but you got to change how it's going to be read. And Republicans don't do that. All right, you got to understand that there's another approach that has to be. The liberals have shown you how they've done it. They've shown you how they do it, and Republicans do not get in the way of that. They don't get in the way of it, and they don't support the interference of it. And until they do, right? This stuff is just going to get worse. It's going to get worse anyway. Okay, that's just the law of nature. It's subject to decay. And the Republic right now, because too many people have not been salt and light to help preserve this Republic, well, it's decaying rapidly right now. Maybe we still have a chance of it, but like the Word of God says, when the salt loses its savor, right? Y'all, we might not be able to get that savor back. We're going to have to really lean on the Lord for some restoration, or this just might be it, where there just may be an implosion here, right? All we can do is pray. You better hope that somewhere we can find enough people who haven't lost their salt, where we can still have the power of savory to make people crave the truth, to make it tasty to them, to make the truth tasty to people. Get that salt on it, make it taste good, right? And enough salt to help preserve and stop the rot. There's only one source for that, y'all. That's the Lord. And a lot of folks ain't dialing into him. Proof of that is that how this country is decaying right now. It's decaying rapidly. So if you want some restoration, you better start getting into the Lord. I highly suggest, okay? And do what he says. He says the children of the light can't really sell it, but the children of the age can. The children of the age are these liberals out there that you see who are using all this promotional stuff to get into people's heads. They're masters of promotion. Conservatives, you got to adopt that. You got to adopt that strategy. You got to get in there. You got to support it, right? Grab my book so you can get some understanding on how to do that. The Lord tells us to do that. You got to start being that salt and light. You're not. Proof of that is how this country is decaying so fast. All right. So anyway, I just thought I would share that with you, y'all. I hope you got something good out of it. And maybe, next Juneteenth, Republicans, be a little bit better prepared. And all these, these things. Once again, y'all, it ain't about patronizing. It ain't about pandering. It's not about pandering. It's not about coddling. Black community can handle itself if the Democrats get out of our way. Remember, y'all, Democrats swarm in like vultures. They're there to impress upon the Black community from the get-go. They're there to arrest the development of the Black community right from the get-go because of what we're capable of. Not because we're incapable, but because of our capability. Republicans, you got to get in the way of that. You know how the same way when we talk about controlling certain oil reserves, Republicans, you understand this, right? If you don't, like say for instance in the Middle East, if you don't have America kind of guarding that, somebody else is going to swoop in and take over, and then you're really going to have some big problems. Okay, you kind of see the analogy there. Well, it's the same thing with the Black community. You've got to run interference on that. It's not about going in there and saying, oh, Black people, do you need our help? No, it's not about that. It's about keeping Democrats away from us. That's what you got to do. So you can either let Democrats keep on getting into Black folks' head and using Black folks to help destroy the country, or you can get in the way of Democrats so Black folks can understand, hey, we're Americans, we're children of God, more than anything, because I know a lot of Black folks out there thinking, we're children of God. Saying, no. You see yourself as a color first before you see yourselves as children of God. Don't get it twisted, okay? When you really see yourselves as children of God first, things will change for the better. All right. So anyway, y'all, just want to run that by you. Blessings. And I hope you visit my website, grab my audiobook, A Solid Right Cross. Rock on.